Welcome to this new edition of my weekly tech updates. This has been an amazing week for me. I had a couple of very nice workshops with some clients, enjoyed Rome, and now I'm really ready to tell you everything that happened this week. This week's episode is going to be mostly about Twitter because on Monday, the CEO and founder of Twitter, Jack Dorsey, resigned. He quit the company. He said that May is not even going to have a seat on the board. And he said that he did that because Twitter is ready to move on from its founders. But there's actually a few other reasons that may have pushed Jack to leave the company. First of all, Twitter is not in a great situation because their user base has been stagnating since 2018 roughly. They haven't been able to add a significant amount of users to the platform, and its monetization business is not going really well. During the pandemic, a lot of companies like Facebook or Snapchat that rely on ads have grown a lot, but Twitter hasn't. And that happened because Twitter has always struggled having a direct response marketing business. That's because most people that use Twitter use it as a way to find sources, to find news, to read meaningful, thoughtful content. And so when you put an ad for a new pair of socks, people may not be in the right mood to click on that. Whereas on Instagram, that works really well. So Twitter so far has been relying on branding advertising, which counts for 85% of its revenues. And the board of Twitter has really pushed for an increase in users and revenues. And Jack Dorsey didn't seem to be the right person to provide that, considering that he's also CEO of the company Square, which right now has a higher market cap than Twitter. And so he's been, for the last few years, working part-time CEO. He works 8 hours for Square and then 8 hours for Twitter and goes back home. So he has a 16-hour long day, which I guess it's fine if you're a billionaire. But let's see what can happen next for Twitter. So first of all, something interesting. The moment that the news about Jack Dorsey stepping down broke out, the Twitter stock went up 10%. But when Jack said who was going to be the next CEO, it went down 2.5% compared to the initial trading price of the day. The new Twitter CEO is going to be Parag Agrawal, who was the old chief technology officer. That guy has been there for 10 years. He's been somebody that really knows the company deeply, is a good friend and trusted advisor to Jack Dorsey, and he's also seen very well from the board. But he's still a tech guy. It doesn't seem like he's the right person to push the company towards aggressive monetization. And also he's a big fan of crypto, which Jack Dorsey is as well. So it sounds like the company may be pushing more and more into this kind of visionary crypto products. Two things happen right after this change. First of all, Twitter announced some changes to their privacy regulations. From now on, if you post a picture of yourself and somebody wants to retweet it, you need to give explicit permission. This is going to allow Twitter to have a much better moderation for violent content, harassing content, basically make Twitter a better place. The second thing that changed right after the change of CEO is that Jack Dorsey changed the name of his other company, Square, which from now on is going to be called Block. That is a clear reference to the crypto business, the blockchain business. Jack said, well, block means a lot of different things. It means the block of your neighborhood because they have a strong emphasis on small businesses. It means the block of the blockchain, and it means a bunch of other things. But it kind of makes me wonder if Jack Dorsey now is going to focus 100% on Square, and he is a big Bitcoin believer. Where is he going to push the company? Now let's talk a little bit about space. SpaceX has been building for a while a new rocket called Starship, which is supposed to be, first of all, huge, so it can bring huge payloads into space and eventually maybe even go to Mars, but also completely reusable. And to make this rocket work, they are developing new engines. These engines are called Raptors, and SpaceX has been struggling a lot in making these engines work because they're just huge and really hard to manufacture. So recently, SpaceX Vice President of Propulsion left. How cool is it to have a Vice President of Propulsion? And now Elon Musk sent an email that was also shared and leaked on the internet to the entire company saying that if they don't fix this disaster, that's how he called it, a disaster of making this rocket work, the company faces serious bankruptcy issues. And this, I think, is going to be interesting because if SpaceX needs more money, I am pretty sure that Elon is going to IPO the company because, well, the stock market loves Elon and it loves Elon projects even if they don't make any money. If you don't believe me, this is the stock market of Tesla compared to all the other car companies. And these are the sales that Tesla makes compared to the other car companies. So let's see what happens in 2022. If Elon is going to manage to fix the issue, now he's working on the rocket himself, then maybe it's going to be alright. But if he doesn't, I will suppose that he will start thinking about other sources of funding for SpaceX. Last piece of news in crypto. This is kind of a weird one. So, you know that there's this new COVID variant called Omicron. Well, obviously somebody made a token called Omicron. And well, guess what? In a couple of days, it went up 900%. Why? Well, because the name is Omicron and people now are looking into the Omicron variant, I guess, and therefore the coin should go up. I really don't know. I have mixed feelings about crypto. This weird thing that sometimes things go up just because of hype or just because it's cool without creating any value. There's really no value in having a coin called Omicron. It's not even a coin, it's a token. It's something that you can share to show that you are interested in Omicron. I don't know. I have no idea. Nobody has any idea. But hey, facts. It's up 900%. That's it for this week, but before we wrap up, I want to invite you to my next deep dive. On Thursday next week, we're going to talk about the metaverse, and this is also really important because it's going to be the last deep dive of the year, but also the last deep dive of my beta testing phase, which means that it's going to be a paid subscription service from next year. So if you want to have a chance to try out one of these deep dives for free, I think you should do that. I'm going to put the instructions to join in the comments or in the description of this video, depending on where you're looking this video from. So thank you for watching, and I'm going to tell you goodbye also from my dog, Martin. Martin, vieni qua! Here he is. Tieni. Ciao, Martin.